and I guess a key one is sidewalks. Only 9% of Cape Coral roads, major and local roads, have sidewalks. Why is that important? It's important because Florida has led the nation in pedestrian fatalities for several years. Lee County has led the state in pedestrian and cycling fatalities for years up until last year. So, when you're having hundreds of people hurt or killed in accidents with cars, that kind of sends you down, not to use a pun, a road that, we needed more sidewalks. And especially when Layla Aiken was killed in 2019, waiting for a bus because she had to stand on the road and a car came by, driver wasn't paying attention and hit her and killed her. So moments like that tell you that we need to do more for a community that's 92% residential and provide them safe corridors to walk around the city. So, I think it needs to go beyond the FDOT grants that we get now that may pump 2 or 3 million into the sidewalk program. To pave every road, we would need over $2 billion. And you're not going to get that done in 2 or 3 years. But if you roll out a 10 to 20 year program and at least gets main roads paved with sidewalks that are within 2 miles of schools, I think it helps a lot. Another key issue for me is public safety. And, I wanted to say a couple things. We're going through a very difficult time right now because of individuals that have been killed because of wrongful acts by police officers. But, it's also important to point out that we live in a safe city, and our police department, our first responders are critically important to us. And it makes no sense whatsoever to defund public safety. Do we have to look at better ways to create dialogue between residents and law enforcement? Of course we do. And the police force here and the fire department, they've always been involved in doing that, meeting with residents. And, when you're talking about 240 sworn officers, what they may face every day, they deserve our respect. So, we deal with difficult times now, but it's always going to be important, especially for a person that's always been completely committed to dialogue, that we continue those conversations with public safety. The police department is looking at a shooting range so they can give officers more time to practice. And I think that's important rather than waiting for the Lee County Sheriff's Office driving range to open up. I think the more experience in all facets of law enforcement and public safety that our police officer can get is truly important. And then the third phase for me is obviously water quality. It was an issue I took a deep interest in as a journalist. It's an issue I studied forwards and backwards. I've been involved in flying from the Everglades all the way up to the Kissimmee Reservoir Project. I've seen the reservoirs that are being built now. I've seen the treatment areas that exist that filter dirty water so that clean water can flow into the Florida Bay. It's a complicated puzzle. And again, it's something that can't be fixed in a few days, but we have a lot of leaders at the federal, state, and local levels that are committed to doing everything we can, including reducing discharges, including enforcement of fertilizer ordinances that prohibit fertilizers, especially now with high levels of nutrients in there. It's all those phases that come into play when we have to protect our canals. It's important that we listen to scientists and what they're telling us about the research that is out there in terms of controlling blue-green algae blooms. And the best way to do that, especially now as we enter into our rainy season and we start to see possible blooms created. So, water quality, my relationships at all levels of government, I think give me a huge strength in continuing to fight for our voice and our position in all levels of government to make sure we get the funding we need to make sure that our community's heard with 400 miles of canals, 125 of them being saltwater, are protected because canals are our lifeline, they're our livelihood, and it'll be important to to make sure we keep that